I'm Dr. Kevin McAfee, and welcome to Facets of the Stone. We are excited to be bringing you this new radio broadcast, and I'm here with Jeannie Nigro. Jeannie, isn't it fun to finally get to be here?
Wonderful, Kevin. I'm so looking forward to this day.
I am too. Now, tell us a little bit about your background. I know
Sure.
you came from corporate America.
Right.
Was that hard?
Well, actually, let me start a little bit before that. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, actually, and went to school in Ohio, graduated from Ohio State, go Buckeyes.
Oh, no, it's a Buckeye, and I'm a Sooner. This is problems. We have difficulty already.
We can work it out. And after graduate school, I moved to Southern California, searching for truth, eventually found it in God, and lived in California for about 30 years.
And you have written a book that is fascinating, and I have read this book, and our staff has been involved in trying to understand what it truly means to be unshaken, because most of us have a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety anyway. Tell us why you wrote this book.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why, Kevin. And it really, the catalyst for this book came out of my own experience with fear. And I know so many of us are struggling with fear right now. There's just so much uncertainty in our world between terrorism and shootings, and we only have to watch the news for a few minutes to be filled with fear. And I was the same way. I went through an experience, had a dinner actually with some individuals that just shared so many things that were scary to me. And I found myself just paralyzed with fear of the end times and what was going to happen. And so I dealt with that. I took that all to the Lord, and from what He showed me about my experience being paralyzed with fear, that became the catalyst for this book. I wanted to share with others what God had showed me about how He is not calling us to fear at this time, and how He is giving us the anchors that we need to be unshaken.
I've learned so much from Jeannie's teachings. First of all, she's been very transparent in who she is and who she wants to be, and she wants to share her journey to open up your journey.
I come from a very different background than most people. I come from the Middle East, from a Muslim background, and my view of the Jewish people was very different when I was being raised that way. But when I come to have a relationship with Jesus, I want to know about these people because they are called God's people, chosen people, and He loves the nation of Israel, and I do as well. When I heard about Jeannie's teaching, I was so excited, and I learned about the festivals and the Passover, the meaning of it, and the true meaning of Jesus all over it, the intimacy with God, how Jesus is revealed from the book of Revelations.
You know, you mentioned in the book about strongholds. And for somebody who is a layman that is trying to look at and understand, what do you mean by strongholds that really cause us to get locked up?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I'm glad you asked that, Kevin, because strongholds can mean so many different things to different people.
Right.
And I've actually almost already answered the question in the sense that strongholds, how I define them for this book, are these lies that we believe about ourselves or about God. So they're old messages that most of the time we received growing up. I received many messages, Kevin, growing up. I was the youngest, I still am, the youngest of 7, and just received lots of messages about myself, about my worth, that I didn't have a voice, that I didn't deserve to exist, that I was unimportant, unvaluable, all these old messages. And they impact how we see God. So when I'm believing that I don't have a voice, that I'm not important, well, I'm going to see that God sees me that way too. And oftentimes what we do, Kevin, with strongholds is that we put someone else's face on God. So if, for example, my mother and father didn't see the worth in me, or expected me to be perfect, or if I felt like I had to be perfect to them to be loved, which I did, and there's really I could never be perfect enough, then I'm going to think that God sees me in that same way.
Jeannie's understanding of the Old Testament, the law, the temple, the feast, really gives a rich heritage to the God that we worship, and helps me to understand better the many facets of the holiness of God. It helps me to understand the character of God in a deeper way than I ever had before.
There's nothing like being set free from a sin that's held you captive for 40 plus years.
Jeannie's teachings have really helped me understand who I am in Christ. She's chosen to share things that are very personal to her, but it's helped me identify my relationship with Christ.
We've been talking to Jeannie Nigro today about the book Unshaken. And our purpose was to talk about how we have lost some of our intimacy with God and how we can get even more in tune with His Spirit. We hope this has been a blessing to you. There's a quality of life that each of you can have, and if you understand that quality, you can find a truth like you've never known before. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for making this program part of your life. And visit us again each week on Facets of the Stone.